Hey trackies, welcome back to another video here on TXC Track Time. Please remember to like the video and also subscribe to the channel. So we're still focused on the 4x100 meters. I talked about the men and now I want to talk about the women. But something I noticed or realized from covering the men is that we clearly don't have the same thought process, which is fine, right? And I don't want anybody to take anything that I'm saying personal. It's just an opinion. It's just my opinion, and you're fine to have your own opinion as well, right? And given everything that I saw in the comment section, one thing I want to point out is that clearly some people think that, okay, as long as you're the fastest, you're supposed to have a spot, or as long as you finish, in the top placings, you should have a spot. But for me personally, I think it has to do with all those things, as well as, for me, experience. Now we've seen data already that and I don't want to diminish some of these athletes to just being called, a relay specialist, but we do have a lot of these athletes that we've seen over the years that give them a baton, a relay baton, whether it's a 4x1, 4x4, they're able to pull something off magnificent. And a lot of times we see them outdo athletes that are faster than them without the baton in their hand, right? So with that being said, I also think about those things, and especially when there's data available that shows that we have athletes that can do these things, as long as they're, in fine health and in great nick, close enough to, what the rest, everybody else is doing, as far as I'm concerned, that's on the team, then, why not have them, at least in my opinion, as an available option? Now, I'm saying this to say, I have a few question marks, over my head. And the more I talk, you're going to understand why it's a question mark. Because coming out of the women's 100-meter finals at the national championships, immediately my mind started to turn over for the women's 4x1, and I found it very interesting, and I'm actually excited about the possibilities heading into the Paris Olympic Games, because I do believe straight off the bat that this whole 4x1 is going to get shaken up. I wanted it to be shaken up, for a while. I mean, they seem to slowly but surely be, implementing some of the thought processes that some of the fans have. Example, Shelly Fraser Price staying on the backstretch. We saw her on the backstretch last season, and she was doing absolutely great until, she picked up that injury. But just from the little we saw, the immediate burst of speed on that backstretch, gap in the field, is what we want. We want our team to have that kind of lead, especially heading into what I believe would be the anchor leg, right? So with that being said, I think Shelly Fraser Price fits perfectly there, and she was doing a great job last season, unfortunately, until injury struck. But I think she fits perfectly there. We've asked for her staying there, for a few years, and finally they put her back there. I believe the first time they put her there was 2019, I want to say. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. But that being said, I'm excited that, Shelly Fraser Price is back on the team, and my expectation is that Shelly Fraser Price will be on the backstretch again. But again, things get interesting, and as I said, in my opinion, things are about to be shaken up, because we saw Shericka Jackson, or we've been seeing Shericka Jackson in recent years, run the anchor leg for the senior team. But we've also noticed in recent years a young Tia Clayton running the anchor leg for the under 20 team, right? So now that Tia is a part of the conversation, remember, top three automatically represent Jamaica, Shericka, Tia, and Shelly Fraser Price. Now that Tia is a part of the construct, immediately my mind goes, Shericka Jackson, you have to go to third and put Tia on anchor. Now, in my opinion, given what Shelly Fraser Price will be able to do on the backstretch, and then following that up with a Shericka Jackson on the third leg, I believe that they'll be able to give a Tia a healthy enough lead for Tia to try to hold on as long as possible, or all the way to the finish line, as far as I'm concerned, to try to snag that gold medal away from America. It won't be easy, clearly, but listen, nothing was given to anybody. You have to go out and fight for it. And I believe these girls have it within them to fight for this particular medal. But again, given how I'm structuring the relay, as you can clearly hear, Shelly on third, not Shelly on third, sorry, Shelly on second, Shericka on third, and Tia on anchor. Clearly what we're missing now is a starter. So immediately, as I said, as soon as the women's 100-meter finals was completed, I started to think this is quite interesting, but we need a starter. That's pretty much what we need. And my expectation, was to have, J3As, or I was thinking the J3As would have selected an athlete that specialized in starting for us in recent times, that we've seen successfully able to start well for us on relays. So the team that the J3 has selected is Tia Clayton, Shericka Jackson, and Shelly Fraser Price. No surprise there. But they also selected Sasha Lee Forbes as the fourth person running, which means that she runs the final. And then as a reserve, there is Alana Reed. Now, interestingly, in the team or in the finals in the women's 100 meters, we also had the likes of a Kemba Nelson who finished fifth. We had Briana Williams who finished seventh, and a Natasha Morrison who finished eighth. All who in recent times have shown us that they're pretty equipped to run a fantastic start, but neither were a viable option. And I'm wondering why. Because when I look at this team again, as I said, how I've structured it, maybe how J3S is structuring it is different from how I've structured it, but that's just my thoughts. Y'all can tell me what is the best structure in your mind. But how I've structured it, 2, 3, 4 is already sewn up. And we know for a fact that Sasha Lee Forbes runs absolutely phenomenal on third. I don't believe that she gives the best start though. So with that being said, are we having Sasha Lee Forbes start? Or are you telling me that we're going to take Shericka Jackson and put Shericka Jackson on first and then keep Sasha Lee Forbes on third? Honestly, personally, when I think about it, I don't think that is the best relay setup. But again, I'm not saying clearly that I know everything. Y'all can tell me in the comment section below how you would structure a team consisting of Shericka, Tia, Shelly, and Sasha Lee Forbes, given the fact that no starter was selected, which is quite interesting for me because I'm wondering to myself if the J3s didn't look at this team and realize that really and truly what was missing from this lineup was a really good starter, right? And once we have a really good starter, in my opinion, then this team is set to go, wild, right? In my opinion. But anyway, trackies, that's my thought process as it relates to this team. I do believe that an awesome shakeup is coming right up at the top. I believe Tia should stay on anchor. Well, this is her first time representing the senior team, but you know what I mean. She's been representing the under 20s on anchor, so she stays there as far as I'm concerned. But we have to move Shericka, put Shericka on third and put Shelly on second. Shelly stays on second. And interestingly, based on this, Sasha Lee Forbes seems to start. Even in my opinion, Alana Reed would be a better starter than, or a better viable option for a start than a Sasha Lee Forbes. I just think it takes a while for Sasha Lee Forbes to get going, so I wouldn't necessarily put her on the beginning of a relay. But as I said, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I did find it interesting that there was no option for an actual starter given, even just one as far as I'm concerned, right? But it is what it is. That's the team that the J3 is selected. So now I want to know your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think about the team that was selected by the administration? Do you think they were right on the ball in terms of their selection? And of course, my second question is, how would you structure this particular team? Let me know your thoughts. Like the video, of course, and subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.